After you've exported all of your parts as .stls, we're going to go into Afinia Studio to set up the print. So one of the first things to do when you open it is there'll be kind of a welcome screen, probably some advertisements. You can check whatever box you need to make sure that that kicks out. But again, the name of the software is called Afinia Studio. It's this blue A, or it looks kind of like three circles joined by lines. That's the icon for it. You can also go down in your search box, type Afinia Studio, start to type Afinia Studio. Um, and by the time you hit AF, it's probably going to be one of the few options. Okay. You've got the about page. You want to go to the build view. Okay. Now you may or may not see this right away. One of the things to do is drop down your printers. This is your printers right here. And at first you will have no printers in this list. You'll want to go to add a printer, and then you want to let it populate with EHS H+1. That's the model of the printer, 1, 2, and 3. And once you populate with those, the settings for as far as the bed size and all that will come in with those printers. So you will want to double check what material is loaded in each printer so that you make sure you're getting the print you expect. At the current time, number 1's loaded with gray, 2 with black, and 3 with red. I'm just going to go ahead and click 3 to connect to 3 and set up to use that printer. Okay. The first thing we want to do is we want to add our pieces in. So when I click the plus sign, I'm going to add a 3D model. Okay, I'm going to go to where I saved my stuff. So in this case, I'm going to go to the desktop, parts to print, and you're going to see I have 2 STL files there. I can select them and bring them in individually, or I can hold shift and click all of them, okay, and click open, and it will bring in all of the parts. Okay. Now, when they come in, they may not be in the best orientation. For example, this arm is sitting in kind of a weird spot. It's going to end up building a bunch of support material inside of this and underneath here, whereas I'd rather roll it on its side. So I'm going to select this part. You've got your modification wheel up here. So I'm going to click on the one that says rotate. And you'll see I've got a couple different directions. Okay. Right now the X direction is highlighted. That's the green one. Okay. If I click and hold, I can kind of rotate it. And what I know is I want to actually rotate it in this direction, which is the Y direction. And again, different parts are going to be different. So you can't just automatically rotate in the Y direction. Now I'm going to rotate in the Y direction 90 degrees, okay, to stand that up. Okay. That's a great way to do that. Now, there's a different way to do rotate. I'm going to get out of the rotate command. I'm going to come over to this one. The first thing I'm actually going to do is move it so these aren't right on top of each other. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click rotate. Now, there's a button right here that says rotate face to bottom. So if I click on this and I click on the bottom face down here, and again, it may be in triangle form, but that's fine. It's going to rotate it so that now that is that face that I clicked on is on the bed plate. So I can confirm that that's good. I'm going to use my move tool again just to move around the part and place it where I want. Now, as you can see, the printer does not recognize the color of the material, so they're just black and gray. Gray is selected, black is it's set up to print. Okay. So that's fine. And you should set up all the pieces that you can print in this color. Okay. And again, I'm just using my left mouse button to rotate, and I'm using my scroll wheel on the mouse to zoom in and out. Okay. But once everything is laid out and done, that's where I'm going to click over here on the print button. Okay. When I click on the print button, I can verify my settings. Your infill stuff should be fine. Now, occasionally, some of these options down here are checked. And this is kind of weird about this slicer in particular, in that it asks, or it basically shows you a negative thing and check marks that it's happening, or you can check mark it. So like unsolid model usually means there's some problem with the model. Okay. You should uncheck that box if it shows up for you, because all of these should be solid models. Okay. It's sometimes a little glitch in the export, where sometimes there's one missing face. Okay, but again, by unchecking the box, like it'll fix that problem for you. No raft. You could print your stuff no raft, but rafting seems to stick your part better to the bed. So I would recommend not checking that box. And you can also eliminate your support material, but then your print's just going to fail. So I wouldn't do that. Okay. Now, one of the things you can do, I suggest doing, is called preview. So when you preview the print, it slices it for you. It figures out how many layers. So it's going to use 125 layers to build these two parts. Okay, or I'm sorry, 253 it looks like. And then it shows you what it looks like. So I've got the yellow support material underneath this because it's not a flat bottomed part. Okay, it shows you the blue at the bottom, shows you some more of the blue up here, and shows you the various parts. Now the other thing you can do is you can slide through your layers. So I'm not going to slide from that side, I'm going to slide from the right side, but that'll basically slide down, as you can see on the other part. And then as it gets to this part, it'll show me kind of what it's doing in the middle here. Okay. And in the middle of this part, you'll see it's putting a little support material in the holes that it's creating. The green is the infill and the blue is the shell. So it's showing you exactly what it's going to do. I always kind of do this just because it gives me a good look at what the printer is doing. And it is starting right away on building the part, so I know that my part is not like way off the surface, so that's really good. Okay, and I can kind of go through this and it'll build the part, and as you can see, it's completing the back portion. Okay, it'll give me an estimate of how much time and how much material it will use. Okay, and then you'd be able to hit either exit the preview or print. Okay, if you hit print, it's going to ask you how many times to repeat the print job. Okay. Then once I pick confirm, it's going to send it to the printer and start printing. Okay. So before you do that, you're probably going to want to make sure you are going to want to make sure you actually go look at the printer, make sure it's not running, make sure there's nothing on the bed other than kind of that white film that you'll see from the glue that helps the part stick to the surface. Okay. And then you'll go ahead and send it and hit print. Okay. The timing on it is pretty accurate, so it should take right about that 2.7 hours that mine is slotted to take. And afterwards, you'll be able to scrape those off and have your parts in hand.